Okay, so number 1 from the homework, it's similar to the one that we did in class, the example 2. So given this triangle, you want to find out what this angle is first. Okay, so if this is 50, this is 80, that means this is 100. Okay, it doesn't look like 100, but it's okay. It's use your imagination. Okay, so once we have this 50, we can clearly see that we have this pair. So I know that I could probably do sine law. Right, Paul? Yeah. Okay, and then I'm going to use the 30 to find AC. Okay, you might be thinking, why do I need AC? Well, you'll find out in a second. So, number 1, using sine law. So this would be length B. So B over sine 30 degrees equals 56 over sine 100. Okay, cross multiply and divide. So B equals 56 times sine 30 degrees divided by sine 100 degrees. You get 28.4. Okay, and your unit, centimeters. Okay, so what was the point in finding B? Well, now, if you redraw your diagram, I want to find the area. So I need base times height divided by 2. I have the base. I need to find the height. So if I draw that part of the triangle out, now I know this is 28.4 and this is 50 degrees right here. So then I can find the height of the triangle. So, which means like this part right here. Okay, so if I just cover up half of it, now I can see my right angle triangle, which is with a 50 and a 28.5. So something like this. Okay. Now I can do SOHCAHTOA because it's a right angle triangle. So opposite over hypotenuse means I'm doing sine. Right? Okay, so sine 50 degrees equals opposite over hypotenuse. So h equals, the height is times sine 50, 21.8. 21.8 centimeters. Okay, now I have the base, I have the height, I can do my area, base times height divided by 2. So 56 times 21.8 divided by 2. Therefore, my final answer is 609.8. This is say what round to the nearest centimeter square. So 610 centimeter square. Okay, how many of you got 610 for the first one? Okay, good. Second, a surveyor is surveying 3 locations for new rides in an amusement park, triangle M, N, and P. Okay, so you were not given a diagram, so you have to draw your own diagram. So again, don't draw a right angle triangle. Draw something that's odd so that you don't misinterpret it as being a right angle triangle. So let's say M, N, and P, something like that. Okay. When I say M and P is 57 degrees, which angle am I referring to being 57? Hazel? Sorry? M angle N, right? The letter in the middle. So the middle letter, that's the angle that's 57. 57 degrees. Length MN is 728. MN 728 meters. MP is 638. Okay, what is the angle at M? Okay, So, can I do straightforward one? Can I just do the sine law and get the answer right away? I see this pair right here. So can I use this pair with the 728 and angle M to get my answer right away? It has to be opposite. Thank you. So the 728 helps me find which angle? Angle P, yes. So even though I'm asked to find angle M, I don't have enough info yet to find it right away. So I have to still match it up by pair. So I can only solve for angle P first. So 728 over sine P equals 638 over sine 57 degrees. Okay, cross multiply, divide, solve for angle P. So angle P equals the sine inverse of 728 times sine 57 divided by 638. Okay, I'm just skipping not skipping, but like combining a few steps here. All right, so cross multiplied it and then divide and then do the inverse. Sure. I thought I made a mistake. 728 times sine 57 degrees divided by 638. Do the sine inverse. I get 73 degrees. Okay, so now that I have P at 73 degrees, how do I find M using the easiest possible method? Catherine?
180 minus.
Yeah, so M equals 180 minus the two angles. So 57 and 73. 180 minus 57 minus 73, 50 degrees. So your answer, 50 degrees. So why this was tricky is because some people will think that, okay, I need to solve for M, and then they do sine law right away. But remember, it has to be the opposite pair. So you actually had to find angle P first, and then subtract to find angle M. Okay. Number 3, some people had trouble with this one. All right, the trick right here was the units. So pay attention to units. Mike's hot air balloon is 875 meters high, directly above the highway. When he was looking west, so remember the compass. Today we'll also go over some examples where it involves north, east, south, west. Okay, if you don't know yet, north is always pointing up. Okay, so remember so remember the directions, because in today's lesson we will be using the compass. Okay, when he is looking west, which means looking to this way, okay, it's an angle of depression of 11 degrees. So remember, angle of depression, yes, that's what is coming back to haunt you. Angle of depression is this right here, which means this angle right here is 11. Okay. And then the actual distance between Highway 81 and Highway 74 is the difference between the two exit numbers. So did you guys know that? Like, it's true. In highway, notice that the exit numbers sometimes jump a lot, and then you're thinking, why can't they just number it in order 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? And that's because it's the exit numbers are the distance between exits. Yeah. So between 74 and 81, what's the difference? Yep. Kilometers. Good job. It's 7 kilometers, not meters. 7 meters, you don't need an exit. You don't need an other exit for a 7-kilometer highway, a 7-meter highway. So, and then you can see already that there is a difference between the units. So you can either change this to 0.875 or change this to 7,000 meters. Okay. What is the angle of depression to the east then, to the nearest degree? So I want to find this angle, which means I want to find this angle, okay, because of the alternate pattern. Okay, so looking at this, I see a right angle triangle. I can use this angle to find. What? By the way, first off, what type of triangle is this?
Triangle.
No, just the shaded part.
Oh.
Is a what type of triangle is this one? Yeah.
Right triangle.
Yeah, right angle triangle. So whenever you see a right angle triangle, it's like your hint that, oh, I can probably use SOHCAHTOA. Okay, so I'm gonna use SOHCAHTOA to help me find this distance. Well, technically, I could I can make this an easier question. Actually, if I find this distance, it's easier. If I find this, then I can subtract it to find out what that is, and then I can just use SOHCAHTOA again. Yeah, so I think this is easier. Let's find this part, the bottom part. Okay, so this right here. Okay, so if I redraw this, number 3. My right angle triangle, this is 875. This is 11 degrees. So if I find out what this is, using SOHCAHTOA, so opposite, adjacent, SOHCAHTOA, which one? Hempio, SOHCAHTOA. Toa, yeah. What took you so long? Well, you guys did so well on the last test. You guys, I would think that you guys can memorize SOHCAHTOA even in your sleep. Okay, so tangent 11 degrees equals opposite over adjacent. Okay, cross multiply, divide, so x equals 875 divided by tangent 11. So x equals 875 divided by tangent 11, 4,501.5 meters. Okay. So what was the purpose of finding this? Well, if I know that the whole length is 7,000, and I know that this part of it is 4,501, now I can find the remaining. So 7,000, take away that. That means this part right here, just this part, it's going to be 2,498.5. Okay. And then because I know opposite and adjacent, I can find the angle now of that. There are different ways to solve for this this question. You could solve for something else and then use sine law. I just think SOHCAHTOA is easier if you have the choice. Okay, so 875, and then this is 2,498.5. Okay, so opposite over adjacent is tangent again, but this time we're looking for the angle. So 875 over 2,498.5. So theta equals 10 inverse 875 divided by that, 0.3502. So theta equals 19 degrees. Okay, so therefore the angle of depression to the east is 19 degrees. Okay. had I solved for this at the very beginning, if I solved for this side, eventually you'll have to do a few extra steps to finally get to that. But there's other different ways. Like you have enough information here to solve for like everything, but it will just take longer. All right, number 4, given the diagram, find the height of the building. So height of this building, this is a right angle triangle right here. Okay, right angle triangle. So if this is 90 degrees, 48, that would make this. Oh. Okay. So when you look at this question, you see it didn't give you much info. So what you could do is try to fill in as much information as you can. So let's say I don't know how to start. Okay, let's do 180. 180 minus 90 minus 48. You get this angle up here to be 42 degrees. 42. Okay, and it's just this one right here. Okay. And then after that, you're thinking, oh, what else do I know? 2 angles doesn't help me do anything. Well, don't forget, this is a straight line. Supplementary angle. So if I know that this is 48, how do I figure out what this side is? Supplementary angle. So 180. 180 minus 48, you get 132. So this is 132 degrees right here. Okay. Once I find that, I can figure out something else as well. What else can I figure out? So you see how we're scaffolding? The other angle, good. The angle up here. So 180 minus 132 minus 35, you get that this angle right here is 13. Now, why is it so important for us to find that 13 degrees up there? Why did I need this 13 degrees? Okay, if I cover up this part, just looking at this triangle, Elizabeth, it's the opposite of 150. So finally, we can do something. This is opposite to this. So opposite, hint, hint, sine law. So I can use sine law. Now, should I use the 132 to find this or 35 to find this? Yep. Use the 35. Good. If you use the 132 to find this hypotenuse, it's not going to help you find the height because you don't have, well, actually, no, you could. You could. Because once you have this length, then you can still do subcontrol. Yeah, so either or is fine, actually. Yeah. So I am going to use the 35 degrees to find this length using the sine law. So number 4 right here. So let's call it x over sine 35 degrees equals 150 over sine 13 degrees. Okay, that way I can find the highlighted line, this right here. Okay, so x equal, cross multiply and divide, so 150 times sine 35 degrees over sine 13 degrees. Okay, 150 times sine 35 divided by sine 13. 382.5 feet. Okay. Once I have that, now I can do my right angle triangle right here with the 48 degrees to find the to do SOHCAHTOA. Right, 48 degrees. This is 382.5. I want to find height. Opposite over hypotenuse, so it's sine. So sine 48 degrees equals opposite over hypotenuse. Okay. So h equals, just multiply them, times it by sine 48, and you get 284. Does it say what to round to? No. All right, so 284 feet. Okay. When I do the calculation on my calculator, I actually keep my whole decimal. Like from here to here, I leave it on my decimal. I don't clear it so that when I do the math, I can carry on all the decimal. Okay. Last one, solve for the triangle. You'll definitely see a question like this on the test where it just asks you to simply solve for all the angles and length. So here, given two sides, any angle in between, you're going to do cosine law to find this. Once you have that, you can do sine law to find either one, and then you would just do 180 subtract to find the third angle. Okay. So just to share, number 5, what were the two? What were the lengths that you got, and what were the angles that you got? 7 meters, 5 meters, 38 degrees. Can somebody share their answer? Emma? 46 degrees and 96 degrees. And the third line? 4.3 meters. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So you should get those as your answer for number 5. Okay, so we used up 20 minutes to go over these word problems. We took up all of them. I spent the 20 minutes because it is important. You're gonna see these type of word problems on the test, and you can see like it does require some thinking. Okay, doing both sine law, cosine law, SOHCAHTOA. Okay, so remember, when you get word problems, it's not just one thing. It could be multi-step. Okay, so for the last few days, some people were telling me that, Miss, I got a different answer. I got a different set of answers. Am I wrong? Am I right? Like, why is that happening? So that's why today we're gonna talk about ambiguous case. Why you're seeing two different answers. So, Kelly, if I can get you to hand this out for me, please. Oh, we're gonna do SNCC, right? Okay. You can start the SNCC at Hempio.
Yeah, I'll hand it normally here.
Ambiguous case. So what is an ambiguous case? Well, for sine law, you know that when you're given two sides and a third angle, like the another angle, you can do sine law because you have the pair. Okay, like this or this, right? And then you know to use the cosine law when you're given two sides and an angle in between, or all three sides. But then there's the ambiguous case. What is the ambiguous case? Be careful when using the sine law to determine the measure of an angle. The inverse sine of a ratio always gives an acute angle, but the supplementary angle has the same ratio. you must decide whether the acute angle theta or the obtuse angle 180 minus theta is the correct angle for your triangle. So for example right here, okay, let's just draw this first. Okay, for example, given triangle ABC, angle A is 41 degrees, angle length A is 23, length B is 28. Solve for angle B. Can all of you draw this diagram for me first? Draw this. Draw this. Should not take you more than 10 seconds to draw a triangle. Okay. Try to draw it. Okay, so we're all drawing this right here. I don't want to use grid paper. I want to use a line paper. Blank paper. Anyone have line paper or blank paper? Thank you. I just think the grid looks a little messy. I don't want to use a grid paper. Thank you. Okay, so I think by now all of you guys drew your diagram. 41 degrees, 28 centimeters, and we're solving for angle B. Okay, how many of you drew a diagram that looks something like this? Okay. Now, did somebody else draw a different triangle? Okay, well, what's wrong if I draw it like this? Good. A, B, C. This is 41 degrees. This is still 28 centimeters. Okay. What's wrong with this one? Nothing. How many of you drew this triangle? Good. All right. So you see how both are correct. 41 degrees for angle A, and length B is 28. So both of them are possible. That's why this is called an ambiguous case, because you could draw a triangle that is an acute triangle. You can also draw an obtuse triangle. Right? What's the connection between this angle and this angle? We can call this B prime. Okay, so angle B and angle B prime. It's supplementary. B plus B prime is equal to 180 degrees. Okay. So if this is 20 degrees, then that means this angle right here is 160. If this is 80, that means this is 100. They are supplementary angles to each other. Okay. Yeah.
What if I label my triangle as like B is like where your C is?
Oh, if you put B over here and C on the bottom, then that means the bottom dimension is like the 28 would be on the bottom. But then you can see right here, this is much longer than this. So your diagram would be like kind of like this. So it will still be the same, but you'll have to rotate your triangles. And I personally think it's a little harder to see. So how I like to draw it, how I normally draw these triangles, I would draw it like this. So first draw my acute triangle and then draw a line like this. Okay, so then this would be triangle A, B, C, and then this would be my secondary triangle, like that. So then I have the acute triangle and the obtuse triangle. Now, why is this supplementary? Okay, if you're thinking why do they add up to 180? Well, what can you say about this length and this length right here? Kelly? They are actually the same. So if you take a look at this diagram right here, if this angle is the same as this angle, what type of triangle is this? Isosceles. So if this angle we said was 20 degrees, that means this angle is 20 degrees. And so on this side, it's the supplementary, which is why it's 160. Yay. Yeah.
In that diagram, what length was constant? Like what length?
The AC. Yeah. So you see like how AC is the same for this big triangle and this triangle.
It's kind of
Isn't BC the same?
BC? Yeah, BC is the same as well, but just at a different angle.
No, not BC.
Both BC. Yeah, both BC is the same. Yeah. I just drew this a little too long, so that it needs to be a little shorter, so it looks more like an isosceles triangle. Yeah. Okay. So, can I always draw two triangles for everything then? No. That's why you have all this thing right here that you have to. Should I be nice? Should I make you guys memorize this? But that will be very time consuming. So how about this? Since this is like an extension, I'll give you guys the I'll give, I think probably this. I'll give this.
you should give like bonus.
Well, I do want to challenge you guys, and this is you'll see this in 11U. All right. So how do we know if we can draw two triangles then? So here's a little summary for you guys. Key idea: the ambiguous case of a sine law may occur when you're given two sides and an angle. So it's if you're given three sides, it's automatically just cosine law. It's only when you're given two sides and the angle and the opposite angle. Okay, so you have to be given a pair in order to consider it being ambiguous case. Depending on the measure of the given angle and the length of the side, you may need to conduct and solve for a zero triangle, one triangle, or two triangles. That's right. So not every dimension I give you can be a triangle. So for example, if I give you a really big angle like 100 degrees, but I give you lengths that are 1 centimeter, 2 centimeters. Okay, it's you can't draw it. It's too short. Okay, so that's why you could have zero triangles, one triangle, or two triangles. So how do we know? In triangle ABC below, where H is the height of the triangle, angle A is the length of the angle A and the length of the sides AB are given. Angle A is an acute. There are four possibilities to consider. If angle A is acute and A is less than the height, there's no triangle. Okay, so if this is an acute angle and then the length of A is shorter than the height of a triangle, it's not possible. You can't draw it. Okay. If A is an acute angle and A equals H, so the length of A, opposite of angle A, is the same as the height, then that means you can draw one right angle triangle. If A is an acute angle and A is greater than B, A greater than B, then you can draw one triangle. And then lastly, if A is an acute angle, but A is less than B and greater than H, that's when it's an ambiguous case and you can do two possible triangles. Okay, so this is the only condition right here where you have actually two. Okay. So notice when you have two, it's when A is an acute angle. If it's not an acute angle, let's say you're given the angle is 100 degrees, you know you don't have to even do any of this test because it only happens if A is an acute angle. Okay. What if it's an obtuse then? If it's an obtuse, there's two possibilities. Either you can't draw it or there's one. Okay. So for if A is an obtuse triangle and that the length of A is less than the length of B, that means it's too short, cannot draw. And if it's longer, then you can just draw that one obtuse triangle. Okay. So I know that's a lot to remember. So there you go. This is a little summary. And this is what I'll give you guys on the test. Must be SSA, so side-side angle. The given angle is an acute. And that length A is less than length B. If all those are met, then you can either have zero solution, one solution, or the two solution. Okay. So altitude, remember altitude, another word for altitude is just H. So B is less than B sine A, or A is less than B sine A, and there's no solution. A is equal to B sine A, then there's one solution. When A is greater than B sine A, it's the two solution. Right, so let's see. With this diagram that we drew right here, let's go over the criteria. So first, did I give you two sides and an angle? Two sides, angle. Yes. Check.
Does it have to be SSA? It can't be SAS.
SAS. It's then that would be cosine law. Yeah. So it's ambiguous case is derived from sine law. Okay. Given angle is acute. Is this an acute angle? Yes, it is. Check. A is less than B. Length of A less than B. Check. Okay. So now I can do H equals B sine A. So the height of the triangle. 28 sine 41 degrees. Where's my calculator? Oh, here. 28 sine 41 degrees. I get 18.3. All right. So my height is A is greater than the height. All right. So case one is when A, okay, is A is not greater than A is not less than H, so it's not this. A is not equal to H, so it's not this. A is greater than H, so it's the ambiguous case. Who's playing music? Okay. So sometimes on the test, I will just ask simple question. Given this information, how many triangles are there? If you're given this, you can just simply do one simple calculation to figure out what H is, and then tell me how many triangles. I could give you a question like this and say, solve for something. And then you would have to know whether I can solve for 1 or 2 triangles. If you don't do this check and you just solve for this triangle, you'll get half the mark because you only solve for one of the 2 triangles. Yeah.
So for each question, we have to like check if it's ambiguous.
If I give you a acute triangle and it's a sine law and you have to do sine law.
Also, for the criteria, isn't A and B interchangeable? Like A is smaller than B. Because you could just label the triangle angles different.
Yeah. So the key, good question. The key right here, like you're not always gonna get triangle ABC. You can get triangle M and Q, X, Y, Z. So the key here is A and A. So you have to be given the pair, and then that would be the. So when you draw your diagram, I would just suggest drawing it on the left corner, and then the other length to be like this one on top. Okay. Oh, and so I forgot to label the 23 centimeters. So this one right here, yeah, so this would be 23 centimeters, and this is also 23 centimeters. Okay, so now let's actually try to solve it. So now that we know for sure that it's an ambiguous case, we have the 2 triangles. Let's solve for B. Okay, so solving for B, I'm going to use the sine law. With this and with this. Okay, so 23 over sine 41 degrees equals 28 over sine B. Okay. Cross multiply and divide. So sine B equals 28 times sine 41 divided by 23. Okay. When I do the inverse, 28 times sine 41 divided by 23, sine inverse, I get 53 degrees. Okay. So since we know this, what is the actually? Let me back up. Let me solve for all of this triangle first. So let me finish one triangle first before I do the second triangle. So angle B is 53. That means angle C is just a simple 180 minus those. Minus 41 minus 53. Oh yeah, the question only asks us to solve for B. But let's say I solve for the triangle because I want to show you guys all of it. So 180 minus 41 minus 53, you get 86 degrees. So B is 53, C is 86. Okay, so I just changed the question to solve for everything. I wanna make sure we know how to solve for all of it. Okay, and then now I can use sine law or cosine law to solve for this third length right here. Okay, for the sake of reviewing, let's do cosine law. All right, since now I know that this is 86 degrees, just for review sake. So C squared equals a squared plus I could have just did the sine law. Okay. So A is 23, B is 28, 23, 28, cosine C. Oops, cosine 86. I know my angle. 86. Okay, so then C squared equals 23 times 23 plus 28 times 28 minus 2 times 23 times 28 times cosine 86 degrees. I get that. So C equals square root 1223.15. So C equals 35 centimeters. Okay. Again, right here to solve for C, you could have used sine law. I just chose to use cosine law because we haven't used it today. All right. Use the easiest way that you want. Okay, so for this triangle right here, I solved for everything. My three angles are A is 41 degrees, B is 53 degrees, C is 86 degrees, length A is 23, length B is 28, and length C is 35. Okay, so normally, based on what we did the last few days, we would be done this question. But because this is an ambiguous case, we have to solve this triangle as well. But don't worry, you don't have to do like everything. The second triangle is easier. So as we were saying, because of this, if angle B is 53, what is B prime? 180 minus 53. 180 minus 53. So B prime is 127 degrees. Right, so this obtuse triangle, this obtuse angle is 127. All right. And then so since this is 127 and this is 41, what is angle C then in this case? Angle C would be 180 minus 41 minus 127. 127 minus 41 is 12 degrees. Okay, and it makes sense. If you look at your diagram, this is a very big obtuse angle, and this is a very small acute angle. Okay. And then lastly, we can do just sine law to solve for the length AB on the bottom. So 23 over sine 41 degrees equal C over sine 12 degrees. Cross multiply and divide. So C is 23 times sine 12 divided by 23 times sine 12 divided by sine 41 degrees. Okay, and I get 7.3 centimeters. Okay, so now when I write my conclusion, A is 41 degrees, B prime is 127 degrees, C is 12 degrees, A is 23, B is 28, and C is 7.3 centimeters. All right, and there you go. You have your 2 sets of answers. All right, so this part right here, notice the math is just a grade 5 math, but it does, that's 1 point right there, that's 1 point right there, and then that's 2 points right here. So if you just do one triangle and not the other, you lost 4 points right there. Silly, 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 because the math is so easy on this other side. All right, so make sure, well, and hint, I guess, hint, on the test, if you see a question that's, I don't know why it's out of 10, hint, maybe it's an ambiguous case then, okay? If a question is only worth out of like 3 marks, for example, you know it's probably not ambiguous case. Okay, so very long lesson today. I know it took up a long time. I do want you guys to try these homework questions. Do half of it. I'll give you guys more time tomorrow. Okay, do at least half. Answers are over here. The photocopying was pretty bad. But it is on Brightspace as well. So if you can't see any of these numbers, it is on Brightspace. But I just thought since I'm photocopying it for you, I might as well photocopy both sides. Okay, so try these homework questions. Do at least half of these. And then I am doing homework check tomorrow. I want to see if you guys can actually do this, attempt this, try this. Okay, homework check tomorrow, homework check tomorrow, homework check tomorrow.